All right, here we are inside LSU women's basketball. Another show. Got Emily Ward in the house with me. Mike Scarborough, of course, with TigerBait, and LSU takes it on the chin in Austin. And uh, boy, that was a game that had a little bit of
Mhm.
everything. LSU looked like they were well in control, and then the wheels came off late in the game. And certainly, got to give Texas credit, hitting 21 of 21 free throws. Emily, when have you ever seen a stat line like that?
Not not really ever. I think the closest thing was I think last year Mikaylah was like 23 for 25 or something throughout games, but 19 for 19 is definitely some or not 19, 21 for 21 is definitely something that they should be proud of because that's hard, especially when you're losing and trying to come back. It is pressure. So, kudos to them.
And we were talking about it. We did Tiger Bait live an hour ago, and we had a lot of LSU women's basketball talk on that show. But man, you got to give Texas credit. Look what they
Mhm.
did in 1 week's time, and we set the stage for it last week. And of course, LSU did not have a Thursday game, and so boy, they went. They beat three top 10 teams. Of course, Kentucky dropped out, but they at the time what were they, seventh or eighth?
Mhm.
They went up to Lexington and beat them handily, and then come home and LSU looks like they were going to be too much for them, and then uh, that's not how it ended. And I know I wanted to get your thoughts on what did you see, what got LSU beat in your mind watching that game.
Well, I think we maybe not got lucky is the right word, but Texas only shot, I think it was like less than 20% in the first half. So I think that was definitely very helpful for us. I know we were kind of slow too, um, but that normally doesn't happen. And so that was just an extra little, I guess, like or happy to LSU. And then I think as the game went on, I think we kept our composure pretty well. You know, Texas would go on a few runs, but we didn't like completely freak out. Like it Texas had to work for that. It's not like we did turnover after turnover. Like yes, we made mistakes, but it wasn't. It was because they were playing so well, not necessarily because of what we did. Um, but I just think Texas is on a roll right now. I mean, beat South Carolina, Kentucky, us. This is the time of the year where you kind of want to go on a roll. So I'm excited to watch them. But I think it was just them making free throws. I don't think we did too bad on the free throw line either. I know we missed a few, but I don't think it was too bad of a percentage. But I just think Texas got hot and we didn't stop them. We didn't stop their best, like their good players. They killed us on the mid range too. So I think it was a little bit of everything.
Yeah. It's one of those deals where, man, you would have liked to have seen LSU get that win. It's so tough
Hmm.
to win on the road, particularly against teams that are of that stature, um, top five, top 10. Um, I don't say if you go on the road and you win that, you're stealing one. But if, again, you and I have talked about it on multiple shows, you want to win all your home games.
Hmm.
And then when you get a game like that, and LSU's got multiple games like this on the schedule, you got 4 games remaining, 2 at home, two on the road, and certainly Alabama and Kentucky are both in the top 25 and
Hmm.
ranked. So
It's not gonna be easy.
no,
Hmm.
and of course you end with Old Miss, which is always a tough team and well coached, and so I think they can win out.
Hmm.
Um, but they're also, we kind of thought that the over and under. I'm not saying you, but me and Sanji and others kind of set the over and under for LSU with 3 losses, and I think they're either going to get there or they're going to beat it. And so
Hmm.
in the regular season, just win them all at home, and then maybe split. But look, LSU's played well on the road.
Hmm.
I tend to think they're probably going to win out, but um, I don't know.
Yeah.
A lot of questions on that game Sunday,
Hmm.
and that's something else I want to ask you. In our last show, a lot of people are bringing it up, and I know I've been thinking, what do you think is preventing Jada Reshar from getting more minutes? Are you seeing anything why she should not be getting more minutes?
I just think that, and I think I mentioned this in the first episode or something like that, but Kim puts so much pressure on her point guards because she, one, knows how to coach them because she was a point guard. And two, your point guard controls everything. They control the offense when you run plays or when you push it. They control the defense, all of this, and are literally everything. They have to make sure, they have to make sure everyone is in the same or in the right position before the play starts. They have to know where everyone goes to see who's open. It's a hard position, and I think just with her being a freshman, that I think as she gets more experience and gets those years of expertise and learning and all of that, then she'll definitely play a lot more. Not saying that she can't do it now, but you have Poa who's been in those situations before, who had an incredible game versus Texas. You had KG, who is a junior, I think, or she definitely has experience. I just think people in front of her have more experience. Um, but I think she'll get there. I think it just comes with time. It's hard to be a point guard, especially on LSU team, especially when you're a freshman. I don't think she's necessarily done anything wrong. And I just know that Kim also won't put her in a position to fail. She knows what she can handle or not. I'm not saying, I'm not trying to say that she would fail or do bad or whatever. But Kim knows that some of the older girls have more experience in those tough games and
It's the thing.
especially away games.
It's the thing of so it's what I suspected. It's what those of us who watch basketball but don't know the intricacies of playing the point and what is
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be done, that we're not seeing Jada, that Kim's how she's grading Jada, so to speak, or what she's seeing on the floor and what Jada's doing or not doing, whatever it might be. But for us watching, we're not seeing a slew of turnovers or things that say, oh,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, that's a freshman. She's just nowhere near ready. I mean, she's hit some nice shots here and there. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I guess for those of us watching it, we're seeing Cheyenne Day Wilson have her moments where she struggles, and Miracle and Poa, and we're like, well, why not Jada?
Mm-hmm.
And it's also, and then your mind starts saying, well, are freshman mistakes any less of a mistake than a sophomore or a junior's mistakes?
Yeah. I mean, I think the last home game, I think I'm trying to remember who we played, but Jada went in, hit an amazing three, almost immediately, or she'd went in and then did a great pass, and it is good. Obviously, you want that when you want a freshman on the court and playing, and it it's weird because your point guards are expected to have the most turnovers because they're handling the ball, they're having to dribble it out, wait for everyone to get in their position. So it's not that you expect them to have the most turnovers, but you can't get mad when they do because they have the ball pretty much the whole game. They're trying to set it up. And so with, like you said, with a freshman having the same a freshman turnover versus Shy or KG or whatever, it's also, I think it's just in that moment too. I don't know if Jada's been put in a position to where if she turns it over in a close game, how is she gonna react?
Right.
Will she freak out and then make another turnover? Which she hasn't been in that position yet. Which I'm not saying that she would, but you also just don't know. And I think um,
And that
it's
hurting a young player's psyche and then having to
yeah.
dig out of that. Yeah,
hmm So
I
I
get it.
think I think it's a little bit of they have experience and you know how they're going to react too.
Right, right. All right, let's dive in. We got a lot of folks in here, and let's dive in. Fire 3449 says everybody hit the like button. Yeah, y'all please do that. If you're enjoying the show, hit that like button. Um, Kat Rubel, hello, glad to have you. Leandra Lewis, what's up, folks? Glad to have you. Richard Anderson, hello, Louisiana. Damn it, I missed the other show and never got notified. Well, if you hit that notification bell, you should be getting it, but who knows? YouTube might be glitchy. Should have won that game. Yeah, had the opportunity. That
hmm
21-21 free throws, though. That
That's crazy.
yeah.
hmm
What LSU beat was too many dumb passes that resulted in turnovers. That too. Dre, we have to play Jada more. Jada Richard's got a lot of fans that want to see more of her. I can tell you that. Get to work. Hold on. There it is. Michael Pennell, too much standing and no one helped the point guard to relieve the press. Yes.
That was true. I forgot about that point. Yeah, there was a lot of standing on offense.
Yep.
And I guarantee you, we were supposed to, obviously, I think we were supposed to win that game. We had them. But I know for a fact the girls and the coaches watched that entire game on film. I mean, I don't actually know that, but if I know from the past, normally you take like clip-its or like you only watch half of the game or whatever. I know they sat down and watched the entire game, and Kim picked everything that they could have done better or could have changed. So I think it is a good learning experience, and to play until the end. It doesn't matter if you're up the whole game; they can still come back and win.
I would like for you to sit next to me at a game, and then I would like for you to just hit me with an elbow or tap my leg as soon as you see something that is going to make Kim flip, that this is just going to make her get out of her chair or whatever, that is going to set her off. From a player not doing something, and so is it almost always point guard related?
I think it kind of depends, because if the point guard's waiting for the rest of the team to set up, but then she makes a turnover, she'll be mad obviously at the point guard for making the turnover, but then she'll also be mad at the other players for taking too long to set up. So it's kind of both, and it is very interesting to watch the games knowing everything that I know, just because like you can have a phenomenal pass or something incredible can happen, but I know what she's going to be mad at also with that. Like you can pass it to like let's say KG passed it to Morrow down low, Morrow missed, got her in rebound, then went up. Well, if Samai was nowhere near that rebound, then Kim will be mad at that. Or if one of the guards didn't get back to play defense, like one of the point guards didn't get back, then she'll be mad at that. That's something they also focus on a lot, is transition defense. And like as soon as the ball goes up, at least one, two, or three, your 1, 2, or 3 guards, one of them is getting back. So
how much does she go off in a team meeting when watching film where either a big three has been hit or a drive to the hoop in a lay-in, and there's a lot of celebrating, and then there's an outlet pass that beats them down the court, and the other team gets an easy bucket?
Oh yeah, she gets really mad because it just happens
because
like
that
at
happens
least
a lot.
once a game. At least once a game.
Yes.
And it's so annoying because like you want to get excited and everything, but also turn around and play defense too.
Yes.
It's like you're beating a dead horse, kind of. Like you've heard it many times to not celebrate for so long where they score, but you keep kind of do it, which is hard to not do. But
give me the number one deal that's going to set Starkey off.
Okay, I have 2. One on offense, one on defense. Well, I guess they're both kind of defense. The first one is not getting back. In practice he drills that.
I'm with him.
Yeah.
I'm with him.
And then like that is like he'll make you run all of this. And then the other one is when in transition defense, when you mess up your matchup and they like score instantly. Like I remember the last home game, I think Mikaylah.
Go ahead.
I think Mikaylah and Flau'jae were somehow accidentally guarding the same person. It left another person wide open right in front of the bench, which made it even worse too. So he gets mad at messes, like when you mess.
I'm always watching the switching, and if you don't switch right and you bump, all it takes is a bump.
Yeah.
And that's going to happen. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I know it's a former player watching a game sees stuff, particularly if you know what they're running and how it's supposed to look. All right, let's see.
Another thing that Kim gets mad at is like if we're up by 30 and she puts in some of the bench players and then we end the game only up by 25. Ooh, you are getting yelled at the next day in the film room. She does not care what the score is. She just expects you to, if not do better, then to at least keep that that score difference.
Well,
So he's like, I don't care who you're playing. I mean, I
That's
understand.
how Nick Saban was in football here.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Richard Anderson, Vic Schaefer is an elite coach, and Texas has a first-class program. They do. Not taking anything away from Texas.
Oh, yeah.
It's again, we talked about that last week. Boy, what if they beat Kentucky and then beat LSU? What a week they would have, and they did it.
Mm-hmm.
They did it.
Yeah.
It's just from the LSU standpoint, obviously, Kim's, to win the national championship in year 2, the first team was fun, the first year team. You and I talked about it. I brought it up with Zach Nagy on the show earlier, debating whether that first team, how they would fare against this team.
Mm-hmm.
I've had it in my mind most of the year that I tend to like that team better.
The first team?
Yeah, than this one.
I'm going to go with the first team just because I played with them and I was on the team.
Yeah. And what does that tell you about how big Mikaylah Pointer was?
Oh, yeah.
And having that.
And Jalen Cherry doing the charges. Mikaylah was a great point guard. I wish she would have had Mulkey. I wish all of them had Mulkey for more than 1 year because I think we would have just been 10 times better. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was a fun team. And of course, it was year 1. It was all new and exciting. Ran into an Ohio State team. But this team, you have 3 phenomenal All-American type players, but I think the reason why I think I'm constantly thinking about that team versus this one is because I think that team was maybe a more complete team, even though how elite the top 3 are on this team.
I just think everyone on that team just did their role and didn't try to do too much. Like you said, I think it was new for everyone, so there might not have been as much expectations as there are now. Because, like, we didn't even make, we had COVID the year before, but like freshman year, or no, we didn't make the team, or we didn't make the tournament COVID year, like my sophomore year. But then the freshman year, we were gonna make it, but then COVID happened. So it's like I had never even experienced a tournament before that. So it's almost like just getting to the tournament was awesome because it's something we had never done. And that was like if I can remember correctly, that was our goal, was to make the tournament and then be a top 4 team in the SEC. And then eventually when we realized that we could all work together and how good we were, we wanted to be a host for the first round. So it's almost like we didn't have this expectation to go to or maybe not expectation is the right word, but so much pressure to go to the Final Four. Obviously that's what you aim for, but none of us had even gotten close to that. So it's just like a whole new ball game, and just seeing all the crowds that we brought in, that was new because the year before was COVID and everything was limited. I don't know, just all the gear and everything that came with it.
I think Kim might get aggravated that we're having this discussion.
Probably.
Right? But it's also a tribute to her because what does it say when you're being able to have that type of discussion? She's absolutely spoiled everybody.
Oh, she's turned the program around. Yeah. And I'll never talk bad about everyone before because they're the reason that I'm at LSU, and I love all of them. I would literally give them a hug if I saw them. But just what she's done in her 4 years now is just incredible.
So it's a greed thing, right?
Maybe. I don't know.
Everybody's gotten greedy and got spoiled in year 2, and the expectations went bananas.
I don't think it's the coaches and players. I think it's more of the outside noise. Right. That's what I meant by that. And if we lose, everyone is going guys crazy.
Like me, like Kim calls it, the clickbait people.
Mm-hmm.
I was laughing a couple of weeks ago when she had a little deal about clickbait, and I was like, well, that was actually the headline I was going to use. She gave an example of and I'm like, well, that was probably exactly the headline I was going to use for that particular thing.
She knew. She caught you in your tracks. Yeah.
It was too funny. Yeah. All right, let's see what we got here. Yeah, Dre, they were denying the passing lanes on the wing, more backdoor cuts. Michael Pinelli, we know they can those type of games. They just have to dig deep and learn. They can win them. Yeah. And Dr. Butler, by the way, he's an LSU grad and he's a Texas. He's on he's on the staff. He's a doctor at the University of Texas, so he's a fan of both. And he was there. The Texas atmosphere was fabulous. Horns shot bad because of the LSU defense. LSU gifted the Horns. Vic, an outstanding coach, talked about how hard it is to guard the Tigers. Hats off to the Horns.
Oh yeah, Vic is a phenomenal coach. He was at Mississippi State my first year, maybe my first 2 years, and he had that place rocking. That was probably one of the hardest places to play in SEC because you're so close in that stadium or the arena. And then when he went to Mississippi State, I remember or not Mississippi, when he went to Texas, I remember all of us being like, okay, good, like, yay, he's gone. And then here we go playing them again. But yeah, he's phenomenal coach. He knows what he's doing. He has those players just like Kim does. They're on it.
I need to go look at their roster and see what they're going to lose. But of course, they have to come to Baton Rouge next year.
Yeah, I'm happy we only had to play them one time in regular season this year.
Yeah,
maybe in the tournaments, but SEC tournament.
Of course, that flips. LSU had Tennessee twice this year. Who will they get twice next year? We don't know that yet. Dre said that game hurt my feelings last night. I can't lie. And Dre says Jade is a more consistent at point guard. Give her the opportunity. Plenty of freshmen doing well in college. And another one. Thanks for acknowledging how well Poa played. Yeah, you acknowledge how well she was playing, but Poa was getting a lot of. I think there was some negative comments on various social media. But I think it was pretty obvious as to why Poa played most of that fourth quarter, right? I mean, the size differential, and Day Wilson and KG they were struggling in that game.
Yeah. Oh, I think Poa did a great job. She had multiple charges, if I can remember correctly. She was out for a little while, didn't play for a few games, and then came back and played the majority of that game, which is hard itself. I mean, you're going from not really playing a lot or playing to having to play the entire game versus Texas. So, I mean, I know she was tired after that game, but I think she did a great job.
Hakeem Batiste, hate to say it, but Poe and Day Wilson aren't giving enough at the point guard. Too many turnovers. And look, you don't want to pick on a bunch of players, but look, it's obvious. I mean, you tell me, Emily, have you seen how quickly she's yanking guards in and out? I mean,
yeah.
I've never seen anything like it.
And I know the turnovers are frustrating and you think that other people should play more because they're not turning, whatever it is, but they practice it all the time in practice. Like we work on the wing players getting open and holding off the other person from stealing it. You work on dribbling the ball up and just waiting for the rest of the play to develop. And then I don't know if the people watching have noticed, but at 10 seconds on the shot clock, we'll send up a post to set a screen, and then it's kind of one-on-one. You work on that literally every single day. And I know that watching that film for the Texas game, she's going to do the same thing with all the turnovers. I know it's frustrating to watch, but I don't know. You kind of just, you live and you learn, and it's hard.
I'll say this. When I watch Jada, though, sometimes I think that while she's obviously a point, I think she wants to play like a wing.
Mm-hmm.
Am I wrong?
Yeah, I know. I've noticed that too, and it's none of us are in practice every single day. We don't know what they do in practice. We don't know how she plays. We don't know that. So the only thing we're basing it off of is the playing time. The playing time, I haven't seen anything particularly wrong with how she plays or anything like that. But once again, we're not in practice every day. We don't know what's going on behind the closed doors. But I think she wants to, because most of the time when we go into our sets, you pass it up as quick as you can because we like to push it and you get it to those wings. And so I think just with Jada, her mentality is like, okay, let me get it to the wing like I'm supposed to do as quick as possible, which is not a wrong thing. And I think Poa or KG or Shy or
But
whoever,
it looks to me like she wants it to rotate back around and her be the wing,
yeah, yeah.
right?
Because if she passes it up, then she'll go to the other side and be that wing. Yeah.
Right. And I think
So
that's having seen her in high school play. Um, I think she would like to kind of be in that Mikaylah role, but she's a point guard.
yeah,
Um,
she'll
and I
learn.
think that's
She'll
probably
figure
a
it
lot
out.
of high
Yeah.
school players are that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
That are the best players. Yeah, it's a good one. Mike, ask Emily what she thought about South Carolina getting blown up by UConn.
It was amazing. I actually I forgot what I was doing, but I turned it on right before halftime and saw that UConn was up by like 20. And I just was shocked. I was like, what is going on? Like I didn't watch any of it up until that point because I was doing something. Um, but helps us. I think it helps that South Carolina got beat. Of course, if they would have beat UConn and then we hopefully end up beating them another time this season, would have made us look better. Um, but I just think that shows how talented women's basketball is right now. Um, you had Tennessee beat UConn, and then UConn beat South Carolina. South Carolina beat Tennessee. I mean, that's just three. I mean, it's all over the country. So I think it's just anyone, any given night can beat anyone. Um, yeah, it's exciting though. I was very
Yeah.
happy.
All right. Well, this show each and every week is brought to you by Dykes Electrical, the official electrical company of TigerBait.com. And no matter how big or small your electrical needs may be, Dykes is wired for success. You need a brand new 10-story office building, they can wire that. A 200,000 square foot warehouse you need built, they can wire that. Or if you're expanding your existing commercial building, they can wire that. Changing out a breaker, a whole electrical panel, or just a receptacle in your home or office, they can wire that. Upgrading that old lighting in your home or office, they can wire that. Give them a call today at the number on your screen, 225-216-9180 for a free estimate on your project. And make sure to let them know TigerBait sent you in, and a great company right here in Baton Rouge that do fantastic work. And again, a proud sponsor of our show, and we're proud to have them on board with us. All right, let's get some more comments before we get out of here. My biggest complaint is that they seem to want to push the ball down on a fast break, and they don't have the numbers when they should slow it down and run their offense.
Yeah.
And is that dependent on who's the one pushing?
I think it depends on what happens in the play before. I think sometimes if there's a steal or something, obviously you want to go if you have numbers, but also sometimes if the other team scores a basket and the point guard is pushing it, well, you might not have your two wings running by because they might have been just whatever, not really, maybe not paying attention, but not sprinting down the floor. Um, but that, I mean, that's part of the wings' jobs is they got to realize they have to know when to push it, when to slow down a little bit. I think they do a decent job on when to push it most of the time. Um, and then I think sometimes too, when they do go to push it, I know Mikaylah does this a lot. They'll pull up for a jump shot instead of trying to go in the lane. So they might be outnumbered, but they pull up quicker so that they don't have a 1v3 or whatever it is. But yeah, I think sometimes they do try to force it. I am thinking of like three times in my head just that I can remember where it's like one of our guards has gone down and it just has been a bad shot or not the best look. Um, but yeah, but they practice it in practice. They work on transition every day. They work on it all the time.
And I
Yeah,
will
I
say
think
Poa is probably the one that's least likely to do that.
yeah. Poa likes when she gets it. She likes to scan first to make sure everyone is where they where they need to be. So,
Right.
hmm
Hakeem Batiste, this bench has been a problem the last two seasons, but Shepard, Gilbert, Del Rosario, Richard should be much better than they've been this year. It's not all their fault either. The staff has to help too. Look, Del Rosario had the injury that I think set her back. And I was talking about this on the last show about we haven't talked about Jersey at all, Wolfenbarger. I tend to think, yes, she's what do they list her at? 6'3", 6'4"? How tall is she?
Probably like 6'3". I think she's tall.
But you look at her bone structure, look at her little ankles. She's got, it's she's not a guy. She's not gonna get in the weight room and do a bunch of squats and have legs twice that size in a year because she's eating 6,000 calories a day in the athletic, cafeteria over there in the football building, right? She's never going to be a banger, a bruiser, right? That's just her genetic, her bone structure. So a lot of people, to me, you're either that coming out or you're not. Del Rosario, I kind of thought maybe she was going to make a bigger move from last year, and that had materialized. But I will say, I think Samaya in the last couple of weeks, I really like what I'm seeing out of her lately. But you probably thought going into the season that maybe you'd get 12 to 15 points a game from her.
Yeah. I
Or
mean,
am I wrong?
I think with the comment, you have to remember that everyone but Del Rosario is new on the team. And so there's still, even I'm telling y'all, it takes so long to learn the system. It's insane how much goes behind the scenes. Like, it looks easy, but that's because we do it for 4 hours every single day. And you have to remember that these people, or these girls, have only been here since, I mean, I guess August, July, which sounds like a long time because it is multiple months, but there's so much to learn, and every school is different. Gilbert was a different school. Shepherd, Richard was in high school, so that's completely different. Um, so yeah, you expect more, but you have to, I don't know. It's like a tough situation because they're still learning, and you can't just go and be like, okay, if the defender does this on you, then you do this. Like, there's so many different scenarios to or so many different options to every scenario. So it's kind of hard um, to pinpoint. And it's the same with the coaches. Like, you try to prepare them as much as you can, but there's only so much you can do. You don't know how the other team's going to perform. Their general moves, or like what they like to do when they dribble right or left. But during game time, there's only so much you can do.
Right. Hakeem Batiste, shout out to Mike and Emily. Thank you for that. Wesley Kwan, someone tell Kim Mulkey she needs a bench. She's getting no bench points and killing her all the time. You knew this last year. 2-3-year juniors are still sitting on the bench.
I mean, I'm going to say about that is not every player on that bench is meant to have a role on the court. I barely played for 4 years, but I was the captain. My role was bigger than that. My teammates still chose me to be a captain, even though I didn't get as much playing time as Kayla Pointer or Angel or Alexis Morris or any of them. I think everyone's role is different. Yeah, I think it's hard to necessarily judge people by their, like, how old they are, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Look, I think, we're in the age of NIL, Emily. So when you go to the portal and you battle and it's free agency. It's professional sports. Let's be honest. So when you're spending money and you go to the portal, I think maybe people are looking at Day Wilson and KG and Miracle and saying, okay, you really need to address the guard spot. But they're kind of, and of course, Gilbert was known as a scorer, but, it took some heat and people questioned whether she would play defense. And that was the whole thing that we've talked about. And, look, if you're going to come to LSU, you're going to play defense. And that's why she came here. And she knew that when she came. And she's had her moments, obviously 2 games against Tennessee. But I think the big 3 are always having to carry the team. Other than a couple of games with KG being lights out. And it's more than a couple, but the Tennessee games, both those obviously stand out. But yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I think another thing with the bench players too is you can recruit these girls all you want, but at the end of the day, you don't know how they're going to work with the teammate, with the team, and the system. I mean, you can try
we
to
saw it
prep and
last year.
train. Yeah,
We saw it last
exactly.
year with Haley.
So I mean, it's hard to recruit people and get people to actually come to your school, and it's even harder to make someone that fits exactly perfectly for what you're looking.
Right.
So, I
And
mean, I would
like,
never want to do what Coach G does or anyone that recruits Rice, anyone. That is a very hard job. It is because you
we're
have,
gonna try. We're gonna get Coach Rice on here one of these weeks.
yeah.
I love her. She's awesome.
Hmm.
Let's see. Let's see. Wesley Quan, Morrow, Johnson, Williams will get tired without bench points. It's going to kill you. But we talk about these 40-minute games that Aneesah has every week. And man, she's a machine. All I know is, regardless of how this season ends, Emily, people are going to miss Aneesah Morrow.
Oh yeah, 100%. It'll be very
You know,
obvious too. Yeah.
Flau'jae has all the fanfare, and she's, got her off the court career and the flash, but Aneesah, man, she what she does every game in the 40 minutes, it's astonishing. Just talking about her and her being able to anticipate where to be underneath that goal, to have those double doubles. A lot of times you know she's doing it, but you don't realize how much she's done it until you look at the box score, and it's that
Yeah.
way every game.
Hmm.
Yeah. Obviously, we need a point guard. Can we at least try Wolfenberger for Georgia? Wolfenberger was a 4-star guard. She's brought the ball up on a fast break. She's made some really nice outlet passes too. Really nice ones. I'd like to see how she finishes out her career at LSU. I think she's going to get better at each step of the way.
Yeah. I think also I think Wolfenbarger came in doing like guard / posts, but then I think we just needed more post at the time. I know, like you said, she was at Arkansas and she was a guard. I think she can do both, but I don't think she's really practiced to do both this season.
Okay, that's a good. Now that leads me to go to a great question. I'm glad you said that. They go on the portal and they get exactly what they want to build up for next year, regardless of whether Flau'jae is coming back. They get what they need in the portal. If they get what they need in the portal, what ideally would Wolfenbarger play next year? Would she still be in the same position?
I think it depends. I think if they load up on post players, then maybe they would look at her kind of like maybe not so much as a Mikaylah, but like can play a 4, can play the 3. I think that just with her height, she would probably just stay at post, and because that's what she's learned. I mean, it's hard to learn everything for one position, and then you have to turn around and learn it for 2 others. Both like your guard players, what they do. Um, I don't know. I think it just kind of depends. I know they have a bunch of great freshmen coming in too. I want to say it's like 4 McDonald's All-Americans, or maybe 5. I don't know, but I know they have a ton of talent just from the freshman class coming in. So I'm excited to see what they do in the portal too. But I don't with Jersey. I don't know. I think it just depends. I think I would like to say more of a post just because that's what she did this year. But I think it just whoever they can get, it'll change that.
Fire. So, Mike, what are you saying? Is that Mulkey is watching? No, she's not watching. But if I say something I'm not supposed to, I bet she finds out about it.
Probably. Me too.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, there were negative comments that many armchair coaches want to bitch about. Look, when we post game press conferences on our YouTube channel and when I see stuff on Facebook, some of the stuff, some people need to get some tact and learn how to say things a little bit nicer.
And learn to be
That,
correct.
but that's also a deal. Do we talk about women's basketball players and critique them any different than we do LSU football players?
Oh, I mean, I had some friends on the baseball team, and stuff that people said to them were horrible things. I don't think women's basketball gets as much, but I don't think that baseball deserves that either. Like, at the end of the day, you have to remember these are 18 through 22-year-old kids playing and learning, and it's not like they're going out there and trying to make a mistake. Like,
But
they're
there's still
literally
some
doing
chivalry.
the best thing.
There
Yeah.
still can be some chivalry.
Like, you can take constructive criticism, like, we're athletes, we all can, but it's also it's so frustrating when people who are not there at practice every day, who don't watch film with y'all, who don't know the team dynamics, don't know any of the coaches personally, all of that stuff plays into effect how you play the game and who plays and when they play and what you run, all of that kind of stuff. So it's so frustrating and just annoying for people to. I'm not talking about like LSU people, like just in general.
Well, look, it's as a guy that's getting it's up in age. These are somebody's daughters, right?
Yeah.
Would you want someone typing things like that about your daughter on the internet?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we can go back to the Angel Reese, and a lot of people, were like, boo hoo hoo, look, you're making all this money, but you can make all the money in the world. Some very caustic comments on the internet can hurt,
Mm-hmm.
sting and hurt anybody. Yeah. All right. That's enough of that. Let me. A lot of Jada Richard, Emily. Look who's popped in. Jacques Duce. Hi, Emily. Big fan. Has Mike given you a raise yet for carrying this show? I'll hang up and listen.
Hey, I love doing this. It's so fun.
Yeah, he fixed his typo. Let's see. There we go. I know you probably agree with that one. We miss Alexis Morris big time. Spectral well care.
Yeah. Alexis was a great player. She got hype on defense. Was a great point guard, knew exactly where to be all the time. Yeah. Definitely
if we
miss
had
her.
Alexis Morris last year, another national championship, I believe.
Yeah. I think you go further at least. Yeah.
Yeah. What is she doing now? Do you know? Is she playing overseas?
The last I heard, she was at the Globetrotters, but that was also, I think, a few months ago. So I'm not sure if that's still the case. But I know like LaDasia Williams is overseas. I want to say Jasmine Carson is also overseas too, or maybe she's back. I don't know. Alexis is either Globetrotters overseas or no, I don't know.
Jasmine Carson that first half in the national title game with everybody on the bench in foul trouble. Holy smokes!
Mm-hmm.
Who could have seen that coming?
I know. That was crazy. That was insane.
What was it like on the bench when she was doing that?
We were
just like freaking out.
Oh yeah, like, and
because
I just
at that point you were just kind of wanting to maintain and get to halftime because you had everybody on the bench in foul trouble. And what did she hit? What was the point total she had? Was it 12 points?
I think it was 12. 15? Yeah, I think she had 4.
In 3?
I don't know. It was something crazy. And then I remember sitting next to Angel on the bench because she was in foul trouble, and Jazz went to throw up that last second shot, and Angel and I look at each other, we're like, she just hit it and it banked in, and we're like, no way. Like, that's actually crazy.
Okay, then she comes off the court and y'all go to the locker room.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of barrage was she getting from y'all in the locker room?
Oh, we were fired up. We were like, keep feeding her. Like, she's hot. Keep giving it to her.
But because it was
We
Emily, that was crazy because we had never seen anything like that
uh-uh.
out of her.
No. Oh, she came to play. That the national championship was her best game. And she'll tell you that too. Like, guarantee you, she was the bench was the reason we won that game. Jazz was the
What a
reason we won that game.
what a game to
So
have your best game
Samaya,
on
exactly.
that stage.
I do remember we were excited during halftime, but we were also like, okay, chill out. There's still a whole nother half. We got we gotta
Mhm.
stay like pedal to the metal.
Yep. All right. Let me get a few more of these, and then we'll get out of here. But another great show, of course. Uh, LSU about tomorrow night in the PMAC, Georgia, 8 o'clock, a late start. I like the 6 o'clocks.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I like the 6 o'clocks, but it's an 8. And then a big one at number 14, Kentucky at 3 o'clock on Sunday. Alabama and Tuscaloosa next Thursday. That's going to be another big one against a top 25 team. And then end the season with Ole Miss on Sunday, March 2nd. And then I'd like to see LSU win out and, can they get to a 2 seed? Can they hold on and get a 2 seed? I think they can.
I think if they win out and then have a big win in the SEC tournament, they can.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anything you want to add on the way out? Let's see. I think a lot of these are kind of yeah, we got just about everything. Anything you want to add on the way out? What to look for, or what after a tough game loss like that at Texas? What has it been like the last few days, and how do you expect this team to bounce back tomorrow night with a Georgia team that's likely to run into a buzzsaw?
Well, I think that they probably head off Monday because they have to because of NCAA rules. Um, and I think yesterday they probably were in film for a very long time. I don't know how long. Probably, I mean, you can't be more than 4 hours. But they probably were in there for 4 hours if I had to guess, going through everything. Um, Today they probably also did more film, um, working stuff probably with Texas, but also with Georgia. I would say just because that game is tomorrow, so they were probably. I think yesterday they were focused more on Texas and how they could have done better, and then today they're probably um, focusing on Georgia. Then they probably went on the court for a little bit, and learned how to guard them, some of their tendencies, that kind of stuff. So I think that I'm interested to see how they're going to bounce back from the loss. I know they did great after they lost to South Carolina, coming back from that. So we just need them to do that again, protect the home court. And when you lose big games like that, you can either lose again or you can bounce back and win. We saw last year, like when they lost South Carolina, then they turned around and lost Mississippi State. You can't have that this year, or just in general. You don't want that. You don't want one loss to become two losses. Um, but I think I'm very confident in the girls just from knowing them and their personalities and how they reacted when they lost South Carolina. I think they've learned a lot from that Texas game. Um, and so, yeah, I'm excited for them to play Georgia, be back at home. There's only 2 more home games, so it's exciting.
Uh, this time of year, and Kim has talked about it a lot about having to tough it out this time of year, and everybody's tired. How cognizant are they now here at mid-February about keeping the legs underneath the players and pulling back
Mhm.
and I'm sure you got what Thomas,
Yeah.
the trainer, and how much are they fully aware of? We need to either back off or do whatever, have an extra day. I mean, do they do things like that because they're cognizant of the grind
Oh,
and
yeah.
making sure the team has their legs underneath them?
Oh, yeah. They know. They've all been doing it for a long time. They know when to rest, when to push the girls. Um, like I said, they probably did film most of yesterday, so that was almost 2 days of full rest from having off Monday, and then Tuesday, they have hot tubs and cold tubs in the locker rooms. They have a sauna now. I wish they had a sauna when I was there, but they added that after. Um, Thomas knows weight room, probably just doing a few reps here and there every day. Obviously, you're not gonna max out on anything at this time of year. You just want to stay moving, stay or getting a few muscle groups. more stretching. It's a lot of stretching at this time too. Um, yeah, it's hard this time of season because it's almost like you feel like you've already finished SEC play, but you have a few more games because then you're excited for the SEC tournament and going to Greenville, and then you're excited for the NCAA tournament and all doing that and doing all of that stuff. So it's hard because you just want to hurry up and get to the next step, but you also have business to take care of.
Did you see last week when they the official LSU Twitter and Facebook put out the video of was it Flau'jae that gifted everybody new purses?
Yes, I did see that.
And
I
you
was very
said,
jealous.
"Dang it, I wish I was
Yes.
still." Oh, look at the
Which,
one she got. That's the one I would have wanted. Are you
yeah, I
watching that?
liked
I wish I
Izzy's.
was
It was
listening.
like a white Prada bag.
There you
Yeah,
go.
I think it's phenomenal that the girls do that. Flau'jae, I remember my senior year, she gave us all the Beat headphones. They're actually right over there, but you can't see them.
I remember that one.
Like the little over the ears ones. Angel gave us Coach purses that year too. So I still got a
Okay.
few things. But no, I think it's great because I mean, I think those girls have such big hearts and they want to support their teammates. They're like sisters to each other. I was very excited for the girls when I saw that video.
Well, I remember
So,
last year, a couple of the media guys were laughing because they couldn't believe I had the audacity to ask the question. But we didn't get a media day this year, but last year, in the gym, the practice gym, we
mhm,
went one by one to each of y'all for
yeah,
interviews. And I asked Angel, because obviously NIL gotten real big and it got pretty well known who she had signed with and this and that and all the NIL stuff. And I said something along the lines of, so when you go out to dinner, does everybody, do all your teammates expect you to pick up the check? And she
she's
started
probably like,
laughing.
no,
Yeah.
no. But I mean, their money is hard. Like they earn that money. They worked for it. Angel, Flau'jae, all of Mikaylah, all of them, Aneesah. Um, yeah, they earn that money, and you don't want to take it for granted, or you don't want Angel to pick up the bill or anything like that.
Right.
But it is so sweet just how they spread it. I know Flau'jae's matching the thing on Thursday or tomorrow, the pink game, how many students show up, her and Bob Starkey. And that she did that I think last year or maybe the year my senior year. But I think that's great too because they
Well, I can tell you, I was looking at some of those bags that were being opened up and having shopped with the missus. I can tell you those were not
oh
low.
no, they were
Those
expensive.
were not,
Yeah. Yeah.
those were not small dollar items.
Yes. And
So
I,
good
I
on
mean,
Flau'jae. And she
yeah,
obviously
props
has good
to
taste too.
yeah. I mean, props to Flau'jae. Like I said, she's earned that money, and it just shows the type of person she is that she's willing to give that money back to, I mean, the team with the purses and the community, and just I love Flau'jae. She's an awesome person.
Absolutely. All right,
Mhm.
everybody. Another great show. Emily, you're great as always. And we'll do it again next week. And thanks all of you for tuning in. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button and notification bell on the way out. And we'll see you at the PMAC tomorrow night.
Yeah,
Good
go
night, everybody.
Tigers. Bye.